Hello everybody! So this is not a well-known fact, but I'm not actually an early adopter of things. While I did get Shadow of War on day one, that was a gift. I didn't actually pay for it, and I don't think that a lot of the things I end up getting, either as a gift from companies or viewers, I would actually pay for because I'm fairly stingy. Now, I'm happy I was able to take the time to make content about those things, but ultimately every time I go to commit to making one thing, it takes 2 or 3 days away from the time I would have available to make something else. In this case, many people assumed that Fallout 4 and Skyrim, two games I was planning fairly large videos on, and a few people do know that I was planning large videos on them, that content stopped. And they attributed it to a few other games I was playing. Skeleton Boomerang, a game I plan to review fairly soon. Shadow of War, I dumped well over 20 hours into. And several other things like Warframe, The Plains of Eidolon. But honestly, I would have shaved time off of those other games and still put up my Skyrim or Fallout 4 videos. However, those of you who know me know I play with mods all the time. I'll spend about 4 hours carving out what I consider to be a great mod loadout. I'll spend another 3 hours bug testing, removing a mod, testing again, removing another mod, until I have a stable loadout that I'm happy with. Or in the case of Oblivion, where I'm mostly happy with. My point here is that I did such a thing with Skyrim. I went ahead and put massive amounts of time into producing a mod loadout that I felt was good. And it was a Legacy of the Dragonborn. That is the Dragonborn Gallery. That is the Relic Hunter. I was excited to recreate my Dario character and do another Relic Hunter run. And then the Creation Club updated and broke several of the mods I was using to the extent where the game would not boot up anymore with my installation of mods the way it was. I found this distressing, and I simply went back to Oblivion and Daggerfall as my go-to Elder Scrolls games. I had intended on getting back to Morrowind as well for the multiplayer I was doing with Khan and Darkrider. Unfortunately, our schedules never quite meshed, and then there was the problem of Darkrider's mic breaking. We got him a new one. That wasn't a problem. But yeah, just schedule difficulties, plus everything. Morrowind hasn't been happening lately. I do have to say, though, that playing Morrowind with another person in the game world definitely changes the way the game is experienced. And I think it's both a positive and a negative. And I think that with Skyrim together and the potential of a Daggerfall Unity modded multiplayer coming eventually, we're going to see how each of these game worlds reacts to having multiple people and the different ways that multiplayer can be implemented. We have Elder Scrolls 3, where because of the open Morrowind, the open MW engine, it can be implemented almost flawlessly, as if the game had multiplayer to begin with. Whereas Skyrim has to use a lot of workarounds with a third-party program that puppets NPCs around and makes them act like players. Suboptimal, I would say. But I've gone off track. What's holding back my Skyrim stuff is because my favorite mod loadouts are unstable. Those of you who were with me back when Skyrim was getting its first set of updates know that I would turn off updates in Steam, and I would use an older version of Skyrim to make sure that my loadout stayed intact, complete. And when my run was completed, then I would go ahead and I would let Steam update to the newest version. Steam doesn't let you do that anymore. Steam auto-updates, which is a terrible, terrible habit. For an always online game, this makes sense. However, let's say the real reason that they're doing the always updates now? It's because they need to keep their online store up to date. Games as a service. Yes, I definitely tore into the Creation Club a bit, pissed off a few people, one person who claimed to actually have been responsible for the whole thing. That's just insanity. You got nutters online. You can't always believe what they say. I just don't like the idea of a microtransaction set in a full $60 product. I like the ability to disable updates and know that the version I am using is this version. I think anyone who works with software on a development level, anyone who has worked with making sure that one piece of software was compatible with another piece of software, all these people will tell you auto updates are bad and that you don't fix something if it isn't broken. If this update that rolls out helps these 50 people, that's great. But you don't update it because it's not affecting you one way or the other. Your software works as intended and does not need anything else. And GOG is on board with this. See, just like Valve does Steam, and they're also responsible for like the Half-Life series, CD Projekt does GOG, and they're responsible for The Witcher. But GOG respects versioning. It really does respect versioning. Steam doesn't. And I've noticed recently a trend on the Skyrim mods where some player may ask for a specific version of the game in order to use mods that were made for that version of the game and not updated later. They were attacked on the Skyrim Mods subreddit as being a pirate. Now, someone brought to my attention that Arthmoor said this. Arthmoor's the guy who did the Skyrim Unofficial patch. He's also said a lot of things which make him very pro Creation Club, pro Bethesda, with a dream to, be the guy making the paid mods, basically. I don't want to be that creepy stalker of Arthmoor, but he keeps saying relevant things, so in this case, he alluded to the idea that only the latest version of Skyrim was legitimate. I don't know if he actually has a history in software development, because that is just awful. When a version of software is put out, it exists. It isn't wiped away when a new version comes out. There are tons of games, like Crusader Kings, for example. If you want to use certain mods for Crusader Kings, you actually have to downgrade your game because of the massive changes in versioning. Well, those mods just aren't legitimate. That's fanboy garbage. I'm sorry. That's just fanboy vomit. Yes, older versions of a game could be used to attach a crack to it that was specific to that version, but that isn't the only reason you'd want an older version of something. Well, if the mod maker really cared, they'd update their version. Obviously, they don't want people to have it. Arthmoor didn't say that. The rest of that, it was just the rest of the community's general sentiment. Not just get over yourselves, seriously. Once something is put out and continues to stay out, the mod maker didn't take down their mod. Obviously, the mod maker intended for the mod to continue to be used in the framework of that older version. Mod makers are not beholden to update their mods every new version of the game. But Bethesda denying you access to the older versions prompts people to seek out that content. And I don't begrudge anyone looking for an older version of Fallout or Skyrim, especially one without that little Creation Club menu there. That would be like someone going to Two Worlds 2. They bought it. They saw that microtransactions menu on the main menu of Two Worlds 2. Like, that didn't used to be there. Oh God, this stuff is terrible. And then he goes online and tries to find a version of Two Worlds 2 that doesn't have that crap. That was the way it was when it was originally released. And I respect people for doing that. Sometimes more is less. And in the case of the Creation Club and the insertion of microtransactions into a full $60 game, maybe someone would appraise the original version of the game more highly than they would the version that has been, how shall we say, tainted by its presence. I realize the immediate rebuttal to that is, well, they don't have to buy those microtransactions. Yeah, but they should just be able to go to their version of the game, the one that they originally purchased, the version that didn't have those. I don't respect this mentality that only the latest version is legitimate. As someone who works with multiple versions of multiple things, sometimes choosing to update or patch, sometimes not choosing to patch, that idea is beyond asinine. And I have to say that maybe your unofficial patched version of the game is what is illegitimate. They certainly aren't hiring you for the Creation Club for that purpose anyway. If legitimacy is what you care about, and you're tying that legitimacy to a corporate authority, you might need to rethink your stance. Or you can get very anti-consumer very quick. Nintendrones are very good at this. But back to the state. So, this is the state of Skyrim right now. It has microtransactions in it, and anyone looking to get the older version from before this was a thing is criticized by the community as some kind of pirate looking to crack the game. Yeah, that's something, isn't it? Okay, so moving on to the status of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has an achievements enabler. It has a console enabler in survival mode. It has a customize every bit of survival mode. It has all kinds of things, which are really, really good. So at this point, people may be asking, well, what's wrong with it then? No, only that some of my favorite mods get broken every time the Creation Club updates. Yeah, I really do like the Fallout 4 script extender. Again, Steam has it set up so we can't disable those updates. The only way around it is to set Fallout 4 to never update, then only launching Fallout 4 through the Fallout 4 script extender, and that will bypass Steam's need to run the update. That's how you get around it with Fallout 4. Kind of irritating, isn't it? And that's pretty much where we're at right now. Eventually, the Skyrim Script Extender Special Edition, which already sports things like SkyUI and Immersive HUD, that's going to reach the same point where we're just running the game through that to prevent updates because the updates break our stuff. But the whole situation, the mods breaking, things like that, it generally put me off from playing Skyrim and Fallout 4 in general. I just looked at the problems and I said, no, ain't doing that. So I went back to Oblivion and Daggerfall for a while. I thought to myself, I should do another Tale of Two Wastelands run. For those of you who don't know, Tale of Two Wastelands is Fallout 3 and New Vegas combined into the same game, where you take this underground train between the two wastelands. But for the most part, you can play Fallout 3, play it to completion with your character, then take that same character, become a courier, get shot in the head. Fallout New Vegas starts. Why didn't I play that instead of Fallout 4? Well, it's always had its issues, and Fallout 3 never had the New Vegas factioning system, so on and so forth. They're changing it. The developers of Tale of Two Wastelands are currently developing Tale of Two Wastelands 3.0, which will take the fully functional Tale of Two Wastelands 2.0 and elevate it to a whole new level where Fallout 3 feels a lot more like New Vegas. And there'll be a lot of new options to take advantage of. I'm super excited about it. And that's pretty much it. So my plans to maybe do Tale of Two Wastelands have been put off by that. Kind of a weird spot we're in because there's a ton of small indie games that are on my plate that I want to do little reviews of, but I kind of want to space those reviews out in between, you know, my usual discussions about Elder Scrolls stuff, but I'm so put off from new Elder Scrolls stuff right now because of how disgusting Bethesda, aka ZeniMax, has been acting lately, that I just wanted to play other stuff. And so, yeah, I wanted to put that out there and explain that other than my ongoing Daggerfall streams, I really don't have much in the way to show for the Elder Scrolls. So I'll have more to talk about fairly soon. I'm going to do some videos updating people about brand new mods and stuff like that, going into depth over a couple of them. But otherwise, most of my content that's new is on twitch.tv/TheHuckeron, my live stream channel, where I play not only Daggerfall, but Warframe and a bunch of other games, where I plan to be playing Azure Striker Gunvolt fairly soon. But other than that, just keep an eye out. There will be Skyrim and Fallout 4 videos coming fairly well soon down the pipe after we get all of these issues resolved, because I'm still kind of pissed. Not at the moral outrage side of things as far as that goes, but the practical side of things, like spend time working on mods. It updates, mods are broken. Now you know why I tend to wait until a game has finished its primary update cycles before actually doing videos and streams of that content. Because starting over sucks. And if I'm going to commit to a game like Skyrim, I'm very well probably going to put about 200 hours into that run, if you know what I mean. Either way, this has been my channel update. Thank you all for watching. Check the links on screen for more content, and I will see y'all next time, or on my live streams, twitch.tv/TheHuckeron. Y'all have a good one now.
Hey kiddo. Hey kiddo. Hey kiddo.